Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew with James Kirkland.
Powerful and provocative, prophetic and practical,
Intellectual stew.
informative and inspirational. How you gonna do better if you don't know what better looks like? I do.
Intellectual stew.
Come on, let's talk about it with me, the mind massager.
Intellectual. Intellectual stew. Intellectual stew.
Hey, what's up? What it do? Time for another episode of the Intellectual Stew with yours truly, James Kirkland. And we have decided to do a special show tonight. Normally, our night is on Monday night. That's our normal time where we do our thought therapy and intellectual stew and all those things. But because of a specific story, a specific situation, had a couple people hit me in the inbox and on my page. And they said, man, you need to deal with this particular subject regarding Carlee Russell. So let me turn this music off and let's get this thing going. Hold on, it's going to start. I caught it. All right, caught it. All right, so we're going to get this show started. I have some special guests that are going to come on tonight, and we're going to talk about this particular scenario. And then as we talk about it, I think some of them are still getting their makeup together and getting their hair together and all that kind of stuff. So they want to. I mean, we don't. I guess we got. Whatever. I guess you got to do what you got to do. I brush my teeth and you can't smell my breath, so I guess I put on cologne and y'all can't smell me. So I guess you got to feel good about yourself when you get on the show. So I'm waiting to see a couple of faces. I see one face, but I'm waiting to see another face. So Coy, where are you? Where are you? Because I'm ready for us to get this show started. We can get right into it. Ivy, text Coy, tell her I said hurry up. Come on, let me see her face so I know she's ready, please. And we're getting ready to get this started. So do me a favor, if you're here, first of all, I see a few of you all in the chat. Go ahead and say hello. Let me know where you're listening from. Let me know whether or not you're listening live or whatever. And let's go ahead. And then if you would, do me a favor, go ahead and share this thread. And we're going to look at a couple of different aspects of this Carlee Russell. I call it the Carlee Russell controversy. I call it the Carlee Russell controversy. That's what I call it. And I think it's somewhat of a controversy. Let's go ahead. Let's get the people who are ready. Ivy, what's going on, Ivy?
Good evening. Good evening. Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. I see that Facebook user says live from Sacramento, California. I think when you went in on the page, I think it gives you an opportunity to accept, what is it, kind of to give us permission to see your name and all that kind of stuff. So that way I can I'm talking to the people in the actual chat. It just says Facebook user. It doesn't say their name. So I'm trying to get them to make it. I think it's a way you can it'll allow you to see us to see your name. Otherwise, I'll figure it out. But so Ivy, we got you on here now. Coy said you were in her inbox early talking about we need to talk about this. What was it that made you say we need to talk about this?
It really got national news. Like quickly. And I mean, this was the fastest I ever seen something like this that popped off. And like, I would say within 24 hours, it spread like a wildfire all on social media. When I first saw it on TikTok, I actually seen a young lady. She had a flyer, she was like, she's missing. I'm like, I just hearted it and kept going to like share. So later on that evening, I went back, scrolling through TikTok, and I just seen it, missing. I'm like, oh my God, somebody missing. It's a black pretty girl, she's missing, So I was like, oh my gosh, if I'm not mistaken, I think she may have graduated from an HBCU, if I'm not mistaken. And I was like, oh, and she's an AKA. I'm like, oh, somebody snatched her up,
That was the words you used. Somebody snatched her up.
Yeah. Yeah, someone snatched her up. And I'm looking like, dang, that's crazy. That's Alabama. I'm like, a black woman, she's pretty. I'm like, that's crazy. I hear about human trafficking all the time, and I have a daughter of my own. They'll be 20, but I was like, oh my gosh, that's like, oh, we gotta talk about this, because I was like, this is crazy. I hope they find her, because some people don't come out alive.
Yeah.
And
So
then after,
let me go. Let me give him the timeline. And then we'll
okay.
come on back in, and then we'll all talk about it. Okay. I see my boy. I'm gonna let him in. Cause I'm gonna kind of have people coming in and out. So let me let Jarvis say hello first. Then I'm gonna get a timeline. Jarvis, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, people?
If you
Intellectual.
can't
Hey,
get,
good evening.
if you
Hey,
can't get,
Ivy.
if you can't get here on time, get here when you can. But that's all right. I appreciate you. I know you got responsibilities and kids and all that kind of stuff. But it's all great. I'm messing with you though. Don't get me back, Jarvis. For real. I know how you are about Joan, and you will fight back. I get it. I'm sorry. I give up. All right. So I'm going. Hold on. This is the. Let me give the timeline. So here are the Carlee. These are the conference notes. The police officer said, we have no reason to believe there is a threat to the public safety in relation to this case, despite Carlee's claims that she was kidnapped. Her search engine showed she looked at information about Amber Alerts, the movie Taken, and how to steal from a cash register. First thing, authorities say sometime Wednesday evening, she stole from the business she was working with. She took a robe and toilet tissue. She also stopped at Target and got snacks. Around 9:30 Wednesday night, she called 911 and said she saw a toddler in a t-shirt. She said, so a toddler in a t-shirt walking along, and she got out of the car to help him. She called her mom, who reportedly heard her scream, and her parents reported that she was possibly abducted. Next, Hoover PD arrived in minutes and found her purse. They found her wig, found her phone, but no sign of the items she stole or the items from Target. Next, search and rescue crews showed up, along with K9 teams, Hoover PD, and the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office, and more came out looking for her, and they found nothing. On Saturday night, she returned home on foot. Home surveillance footage in the neighborhood show her walking up to her home and knocking on the door. In her statement to Hoover PD, she told police that a man abducted her and forced her into a car from I-459. She said the next thing she remembers is being forced into an 18-wheeler with a man, woman, and a child. She said the man had orange hair with a bald spot. She told police that she escaped, but they caught her and put her in a car where she was restrained. She said she thinks they took pictures of her, but she wasn't sexually assaulted. Then she said she eventually was put back in the vehicle and was able to escape in the West Hoover area. From there, she made her way home. Police continued to investigate her story and got help from the U.S. Secret Service. They searched her cell phone and found that starting on July 11th, she searched for these different items. Look what she searched for. She searched, do you have Amber Alert? Excuse me, do you have to pay for Amber Alert? How to take money from a cash register? Bus ticket from Birmingham to Nashville, the movie Taken, and what is the maximum age of an Amber Alert? Hoover PD is still investigating, and no charges have been filed as of yet about Carlee Russell. Okay, so let me get my girl Coy in here too. Hold on, and we're going to get this conversation started. What's up, Coy?
Hey y'all, how's everybody doing?
She's so doggone Arkansas. Hey y'all, we all good.
Hey
What's
guys,
going on?
that's
Thank
great.
you. That's your inside voice. I mean, your professional voice. All right, so let's get right into it. Ivy was finna go off on. I see her starting to laugh already and talk about the girl. I saw it all in her face, so I had to cut her off and go ahead and get started with and give the stats first. So listen, we got 15 people so far in the chat. Do me a favor, share this thread, and also y'all communicate. Y'all talk to each other in the chat. Talk to us. If I see something I want to share on the screen, I will. I got Jarvis with me. I got what's up, Melinda? I got Coy. I got Ivy. A little bit. I'm gonna have a therapist come on in a few minutes because we're gonna talk about some mental health stuff a little bit later on. So let's have a conversation tonight. All right, Coy, come on. When Ivy got on the phone with you, why did she say we need to talk about this? What was up?
Well, she got on the phone with me originally when it first came out, and she was texting me the links and everything. And the last link she texted me, it was the footage of the highway. And I looked at it. She said, "Do you see that? That's her car pulling over." So I looked at it and I texted her again. I said, "Girl, look it took her to pull over, and she already had her blinkers on, her emergency blinkers on. And she said, yeah, but there's more footage. I'm like, I wanted to go online and post about it, but I didn't want nobody to drag me. Like, listen, this girl missing. But I was just like, you know what? Let it be. She missing. Okay, she missing. But that's bizarre that she will drive, a mile down the road to pull over after she saw the kid. And as soon as she pulled over, somebody snatched her, according to her sister-in-law. So they were down there waiting on you while the kid was back there. I said, something ain't adding up. That's what originally happened. That's how our conversation went.
Gotcha. So, Jarvis, when you heard about this story, what did it make you think about?
I mean, first and foremost, man, I was bleeding with everybody that was praying for her. You know what I mean? Everybody was, please let this woman be all right. Don't let it be another case where someone, has been abducted and killed. But as things transpired, as far as us, it didn't add up. You know what I mean? And I had a feeling that I had an inkling that it was going to turn ugly. Not saying it was, I didn't know initially there was going to be a whole Jussie Smollett situation, but it kind of turned out and eventually kind of became that, And what Black folk is so sad to me, and that is what is so tragically heartbreaking, is that there's so many people now that almost were more of a proponent for her to have been dead. Wow. You know what I'm saying? Than to be found alive. And the fact that she lied about it, Black folks are messy. You can say we say we not all day long, but to me, us as people, we can be messy. So when they found out, and when they thought that it was going to be a lie, they ran with it. So it turned what was originally supposed to be a tragedy into a worldwide scandal. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. And we go from one to another. So you got to think about it. To me, and a few weeks ago, we were just talking about the post-Titanic situation. Bam, what happened? We looking for the next thing to move on to. You know what I mean? And we got it. So unfortunately for this young lady, she is that next thing. And the whole world grabbed it.
And now, hold on. Now that you mentioned the whole world grabbing it, let's look at some of these things. Have y'all seen some of these memes? You see this one right here said the Hoover roadside toddler. They came up with a whole little doll for the baby.
Man, they're gonna sell it.
They gonna sell a Hoover roadside doll. Well, hold on. Then they made this little meme right here. They said, when I send this, just know I'm gonna be gone for a couple of days. I mean, they dragging this girl on the internet, man. I mean, hold on, let me get another. They said taken by
nobody.
That's taken by nobody. Who said that? Nobody. Wow. Stop laughing so much. Why you laughing so much? Why you laughing so much? Hold on, let me get another. I got another one right here. Hold on. This one right here. What did I say? Say it for me. This is her when they caught her search engine. When they started looking through her search engine, that was her face. Look, when the police department went and got the when the police department went and got the Secret Service and they started going through her internet and they saw her search engine, they said that was her face. Hold on, I got one more face. Hold on. This is a Carlee weekend starter pack.
Little man on there.
See, I told you Black folks are messy.
But no, I'm joking.
We are the worst.
I'm joking.
I was speaking to someone earlier, and they were saying, "Sorry, James." They were saying how, hey, other races they get kidnapped all the time, and it's a lie. Yeah. Guess what? They don't do that. Yeah. Why do we do this to each other? Okay, it was a lie. Let's leave her alone. She did it for a reason. We don't know the reason.
And that's the thing. But no, hold on. But and Coy, that's the thing. That's the thing, Coy. You asked me something earlier today. You asked me, does our community take a hit because of this, right? And then we had on my page today, I asked a question, and we'll get into that later on. And this white chick, this white girl came on, man, and she I knew she didn't mean any harm. I knew she didn't mean any harm. But she stepped in dangerous territory, right? And she said something. Coy, what did she say? You
She
looking it
said
up?
something.
Hold on, you breaking up if you're still talking, Coy.
You can't hear me?
No, you starting to break up
Can
a
you hear
little
me
bit. Now I
now?
can hear you. I can.
Okay, she made mention about the Black woman movement and the work that she does concerning this and this. How is this going to affect the movement? And I was talking to my daughter at the time also, so my daughter went all the way in. She's like, "What you mean? What she mean? How this going to affect the movement? This ain't got nothing to do with the movement. The movement shouldn't even been in place because every human should be treated the same way in the first place. You know, you
Your
speaking
daughter
on
like
an
you.
issue that you have no business speaking on because
But you got to think about it
you
though.
don't face that kind of stuff."
Corey, you got to think about it. When it happened to Jussie, he came straight out. He blamed it that he was attacked because he was gay.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he had a whole movement behind him. He had the entire gay community behind him saying a black man was attacked. So maybe she didn't understand the full stipulations of the situation. It had nothing to do with being a woman. You know what I'm saying? We knew, but as a white woman, she probably just tried to throw her little 2 cents in. And what will it do moving forward for a woman? If think about it, if a black woman in Hoover says that she in Hoover, Alabama, was to call 911 and says she feels like she's being abducted, first thing, what do you think is the first thing people are gonna say?
What they always say. It ain't got nothing to do with Carlee. They've been doing this.
They've been doing it. So I don't know.
They've been doing this.
Yeah, and now that you mentioned it, hold on one second. Let me drop this out here because let's put this disclaimer out there.
They only covered this. I really believe they only covered this because of the social media outpour. Otherwise, she wouldn't have received any coverage.
All right, so let me say this. Let me just say this. First of all, women being abducted in the United States is a terrible thing. Okay. This statistic, first of all, you got to let Ivy talk. Ivy was the one that wanted to do the show, but hold on. So let's all right. This is the statistic. Nearly 100,000 women of color went missing in 2020, and now one state wants to do something about it. Despite making up only 13% of the female population in the U.S., studies have shown that Black women account for 35% of the country's missing women. That was as of March 3rd, 2023. One more statistic. According to data cited by Brittany Lewis, co-founder of Research in Action, over 60,000 Black women are missing nationwide and are twice as likely to be homicide victims than they appear to be. So my point is that it's a serious issue about women being abducted. We hear stories all the time in Philadelphia, Chicago, of serial killers. Sometimes Ivy, we'll say that Black people aren't serial killers. Yeah, they don't get reported like other ones do, but in Black neighborhoods and in stuff like that happens. Women are abducted. The resources aren't used to go and find them. But in this case, they were. Whether it was because of social media's response to it, whatever it was, everybody in the world. Because when I came across the story last Friday, when I saw it, I was in disbelief, and I immediately shared it. You know what I'm saying? I saw a black woman supposedly being abducted. I shared it, and like Ivy, you did the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Oh, you muted, Ivy. Unmute yourself.
Oh, yes. I shared it on my Bethune-Cookman graduate page. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So like a lot of people probably. How many people in the comments? How many of y'all actually shared it as well? How many of y'all actually shared it because you saw it? And then when all of a sudden here comes this news report that's the math ain't mathing. When she showed up, I'm like, oh yeah, man, I was happy and I was proud. I'm the Black lady made it home. Didn't anybody kill her? She didn't get killed, wasn't murdered. And then all of a sudden I hear that the math wasn't mathing, Jarvis.
Right.
I mean, 2 plus 2 wasn't coming up to 4, and all this stuff started happening. And then all of a sudden you hear something about she was with the sneaky link. Has anybody heard the one she was with the sneaky link?
No, what?
Possibly a 17, if I'm not mistaken. I heard a 17-year-old because they be letting it out on TikTok. So far, I seen a 17-year-old boy at the Red Roof Inn. So
Corey, this is what my homegirl said. She sent this. I'm not gonna reveal her name, but I'm gonna show you what her comment was. She said, all that for some wood. She said he must have been slanging that thing, boy.
So I'm telling you, nigga warrior.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do have a question. I got a serious question that I really want to ask. You know what I mean? And I want to ask both Ivy and Coy.
Mm-hmm.
There are some questions that haven't been answered, right? What are some of the main things that you want her to answer that you haven't heard yet? What are some of the questions that you want her to severely and just brutally, honestly answer that you haven't heard yet? Because what's going to happen is people are going to start making assumptions.
Mhm.
I want to know why. What was, was it attention? What was she seeking? What was she
I
trying
would
to
wanna
get?
know-
Was she trying to make a point?
What point? I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would want to know what's going on in her life. Like if I were to sit down with her, I would ask her, what's going on with you? What's happening? What took place? Because it's something's going on where she decided, okay, well, I'm going to make someone think I disappeared, but I don't think she thought it all the way through because it's going to affect your parents as well. So something took place where she was lacking attention somewhere and needed it. So she's crying out saying, hey, listen, I want to see if you're going to miss me. How would you feel if I disappeared? But she didn't say it. She decided to do it.
Coy is on it. So if it say there was a man in her life, and say that he was done with her, right? So she came up with this elaborate scheme to make it seem like she had disappeared, just to get him back.
Right.
So do you think that is justifying for her situation? Or do you think that she still has a lot of answers and things that she needs to pay for? Because originally her ex-boyfriend or boyfriend or whatever said he went along with the police, right? He said that, hey, she's missing, you know what I'm saying? She was really attacked. She was really brutally, you know what I'm saying, raped and this and that. And then now he deleted all of her stuff. You know what I'm saying? So
wow.
So what do you think? What could she do to help her?
What could she do to help her? Is it what that's what you're asking?
Help herself, yeah. What could she do to help herself? You know what I mean? She created this situation.
Hey, y'all ladies in the audience, answer Jarvis's question as well. Y'all answering, pose that question to the audience as well, Jarvis. Don't just leave it for
because Hoover, it's gonna. I don't want it to turn into one of these other situations where it's because Fox News is gonna eat it up. Trump News is gonna tear it apart because it's another situation where an orange-haired white dude coming out of the woods,
orange hair. That's what got me. The orange hair with a bald spot.
They're gonna tear that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't tie her wrist up because they didn't want her wrist to look like she had on it.
Right,
but I did see one meme, man, that Jarvis and the one meme that kind of got my attention. It said Carlee never said Carlee it had Carlee's face on this. Said I didn't never say I was missing.
See,
y'all ran with that. I wasn't the one that said I was missing. You know what I'm saying? So,
but did you call 911?
But did you call 911? And where did you go for them 2?
What did you tell 911?
2 days. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you a question, Jarvis. And Coy, you asked me the question, so I'm gonna throw it back at you right now. I'm gonna ask you the same question you threw at me, and I want the audience to jump in on this. Let's have a conversation tonight. Let's really have a conversation. We know what the majority of our audience is. We know what our demographics are for the most part, right? So what's understood don't have to be explained. But I'm gonna ask you a question. Do you think what she did hurt our community? Do you think okay, so tell me how.
Absolutely, because
one at a time. Go, Ivy going first. Come on, Ivy.
Absolutely. And I feel that way is because one, as a Black minority, when we do call out for help, they assume, oh, we're troublemakers, or, it's always an assumption with us. Here it is now that, supposedly she called out for help. It makes us look bad because it's like, dang, y'all would say, well, we can't act right. It's, you know what I'm saying? She left a distaste with us, with the Black community. So it's basically, I'm put like this. If another Black person goes missing and it's serious, they may not take it serious. The community may not take it serious because of what she has done.
Gotcha. What you think, Coy?
I believe there's a possibility they may not take it serious, but they need to do their job regardless.
Yeah.
You know, so that's going to be an excuse. Well, she did. That's not your business to say, to compare a case with another case just because of the color of someone's skin. Will it affect us? We're already affected. It's going to continue to be affected. They move just like they move when people shoot people and they don't arrest them right away. They moved because of the social media footage. They said to themselves, we got to do something or we're going to get in trouble if something happened to this girl. So it wasn't a matter of them investigating to make sure it's true. It's a matter of the outpour, and they decided to go ahead and do their job. So that's going to be a lame excuse if they say, well, you know, within the precinct or whatever, or city or wherever this happens, if they say with amongst themselves that, hey, you know what the other black girl did, that's because of them as an individual. That ain't got nothing to do with what she did.
Right.
But you know what I want to say too, also, what, and I
They
said
want
too,
us to believe, oh, this is hurting, this is going to hurt us, this is the reason why they're not going to look for us now. No, they're doing that because they don't want to do it.
yeah, and that's why I say that too. But you know, I say what also gonna leave his thing as well. And what got me was it was a woman. Her daughter actually went missing, was kidnapped and found unalive. And she volunteered to go out there and help look for Carlee. That right there, that was like the icing on it. That right there, that was like the icing on the cake for me.
Wow. What you
Because
think,
that lady had to relive. She walking in the woods, you know, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that's where her child was found in the woods.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like other people who child that went missing and found unalive, and you know, so a black person goes missing. You know, it's like it leaves a kind of hesitant, like, okay, should I or should I not?
Gotcha. What you think, Jarvis? You think it affects our community?
Not I won't say the community, because in all, you know, we as people can just forget about stuff because there's always something going on. But to me, the biggest thing that it probably affected, in my opinion, is her family's name, because she looks like she has upstanding family. You know, her family looks solid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like she has a mother, she has a father, they support her, it was within her life, you know what I mean? She was educated and this and that. But one thing, once you taint your family's name, it's something that sticks with you. And it's something that causes people to uproot, move, to try to get away from and try to escape. But that when your family name is tainted, it's a stain. It's no different than when, you know what I'm saying, your family, your mom and dad could be the best parents in the world, but then when your child shoots up a school, you know what I mean? Who did it really hurt? Because eventually the community is going to rebuild. You know what I mean? Community is going to go forward, but your family and the people who believed in your upstanding family name are tainted. So I hold nothing against her parents, because I think her parents did a great job. They're in the damage control. I don't even blame them for supporting their daughter, because I would do the same thing. If it was your daughter did this, what would you do?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd be like, okay, let me pull my daughter back. You know what I'm saying? Back in the day, you'd stay with your auntie or someone, you know what I mean? Till we can get the thing straightened out, you know, figured out or whatever. And then we just move on, try our best to move on with life. But as a community itself, no, I don't think it's damaged. And just like Coy said, Coy so smart. You know what I'm saying? When she said it, she said that a lot of the damage that you think has been done, it's already there. A lot of the distrust that Hoover police might have had for people, it's already been there. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing else been added. So absolutely. I don't think that, you know what I mean? I don't think that added anything to it. She just, you know, pulled a smoothie situation.
Gotcha. Hey, so I want to do something now. Ivy, I'm gonna take you out right now, and I'm gonna bring Pastor Rayfield Evans in right quick. Okay, Ivy. I appreciate you for what you've done, but stay in the back. Oh, hold on.
I want to say something too. Charles had said when you said about his parents. I noticed. I don't know if anyone noticed with the parents, but what I caught was like a disconnect. When the mother did the interview, they asked her, "Do you believe if there's an abductor out there? Anyone caught?" She did her head like, "Yes,
Mama knows."
Yeah. The father, the stepfather, the mother is doing all the talking, but the father ain't saying not one word. He was
Right.
sitting up there looking like, y'all got to be kidding me.
Maybe because it wasn't his child. Hell, I don't know.
Wow.
To me, it's like the father, like he looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I had just wanted to say that. Go
I
ahead.
appreciate you.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you back in here again, but I want to bring somebody else in right quick because I want to pivot the conversation. Give me a second. So y'all tell Ivy bye right quick. She's gonna come out there and talk to y'all. Talk with y'all in the
See you soon, girl.
yeah.
See you in
Talk.
the
She's gonna be talking to
audience.
y'all in the comments. So let me get Ivy. Get him in. All right. So Lazaric said she has to be dealing with some mental issues. That's what he said. So it's got to be a mental issue thing. Now that prompted me to make a post earlier today when because everybody started trying to say that it might be mental issues, is she dealing with mental issues? And then it makes me wonder, do we use the term mental issue too loosely? Do we ascribe it to everything? And don't answer that question yet, y'all. Hold on, because that's a rhetorical question right now. But so I made this post earlier today, and the post said, I'm starting to wonder if we give mental illness too much credit. And then I said, is mental illness a substitute for bad decisions? Now, I'm going to bring Ray Evans in. Ray is lives in Mississippi. But Ray is a therapist. He's a counselor, and he's over like dozens. And I think he can tell you himself. Let me get him in here. Hold on, Dr. Evans. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. How you doing?
Y'all hear his voice? Doing great. How you doing?
Hello.
How you doing, man? Everything good, bro. Do that one more time. That was good. Do it one more time.
Oh yeah.
I'm messing with you, man. How you do? Everything good, bro?
Everything's good.
I caught him off guard. I'm sorry. So you saw my post earlier today, right?
Yes.
And you rebut. You ain't rebut, but you said that it's not only about mental illnesses. Oh, hold on. I got everybody in the chat right now. Just like the post for me, right quick. Just like it. If you don't want to share it, at least like it. And then that way I can get the algorithm going a little bit more. We can get more people in this conversation. So we're going to pivot about something and talk about something that our community really needs to talk about. And we really need to talk about real mental illness. I'm not talking about, because I'm sad. You know what I'm saying? I could be sad without being depressed, I believe. So there are people who are dealing with real mental illnesses out here. And I think we're throwing a blanket statement on a lot of general issues. And I wanted to bring Ray Evans in to talk about that for a minute. Tell them about your background a little bit, Doc, and then address the post for me.
I've been in the mental health field for the last 30 years, and I currently serve as the executive director for community counseling services. We have about 306 staff, and we cover 7 counties here in Mississippi.
7 counties, okay. That's good. And listen, and to do that in Mississippi, that's quite an accomplishment in and of itself, especially the tent that he is. So he broke a lot of barriers with doing that. And so we really applaud him for holding that position. So now we're talking about mental illness, and you're familiar with the Carlee situation, Pastor?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so you've heard everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a mental illness situation?
More than likely, you would have to look at the totality of her life. She is a very young person at 25 years old. She is a nursing student. There are a lot of positives, but we have to look at her overall functioning, education, employment, family, and relationships. And usually you see some deficit in one of those areas.
Okay. And so with them having, and Jarvis, you can ask the same questions as well. And Coy, if you have questions of Dr. Evans as well, feel free to ask questions. But I really want us to understand her mindset. But if she's has mental illness, I want someone of the mental of that field to diagnose that. Mm-hmm. I don't want us, because I think so many of us self-diagnose. I mean, because like I remember after my divorce, I was sad. That's a natural reaction to be upset or sad about that. And so when I told somebody I was sad, oh yeah, mental illness. No, that's not me. I'm not mentally ill. I mean, I'm just sad.
Yes.
So is that a difference, Doc, when it comes to something like?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about the feelings of sadness or depression, if a loved one died, you may experience feelings of depression. But to be clinically depressed and not be able to function, that is the thing that causes a person to be labeled with a mental illness. And it doesn't have to be long term; it can be short term.
Yeah, but I think, man, with what you were saying, James, earlier, it does become convenient. Um, Doc Evans, did you ever work in Jackson, Mississippi?
No, never worked in
Yeah.
Jack.
Oh, okay. There used to be a mental health facility in Jackson, Mississippi, and my good brother, man, my son and brother, Rod Wells, he asked me. He said, if the on the mental health facility in Jackson, Mississippi, they have a catfish pond, and the fish just literally jump out the water. And he told me, he invited me to come fishing, and I did. And so while I was there, when I went fishing, and I'm sitting there with my rod in my hand on the water, security rides by. And when security rides by, he asked me, the security guard points at me, and my brother Rod looks at him, and he goes like this. So that let the security guard know I'm crazy. Don't mess with me. You know what I'm saying? So I got the fish, and I caught a lot of fish. But what I'm saying is a lot of people are conveniently using that label. And another flip side of it, my son, the person who murdered my son, was perfectly sane the day before he did it. But now he's going through mental therapy because he said, I think I need mental help. You know what I'm saying? So I guarantee you, when it comes to the situation with Carlee, what was her mental state before it all happened?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that will be her next. You know, I do feel like that will be her next avenue out, will be to say, hey, I ain't got it all. You know what I'm saying? Wow. And how long is that going to be an excuse?
Well, now there has to be some type of history there. You're not, unless she says that unless doctors prove that there was a psychotic break, meaning someone can be functioning fine, and then all of a sudden, due to pressure, have what we used to call a nervous breakdown. The proper terminology is psychotic break. So unless she experienced that, but now there's going to be other psychotic features, some hearing voices, seeing things that are not there. And if it was not there the day before, it does not happen like that. It's a slow process. So if she was in school, did teachers notice it? Mom and dad should have noticed something, some odd, unique behaviors. And if nobody noticed that, you're not going to be sane one day and not the next day.
Right.
Got you. So let's talk for a minute. Okay, let's get some of the answers. That when I put the post out today, some of the answers I got. Here the post is again for those that are just checking in. I'm starting to wonder if we give mental illness too much credit. Is mental illness a substitute for bad decisions? So these are some of the answers I got. This young lady answered and said, "Not sure, but I do know not sure, but I do know many that make a bad decision willingly and mindfully use mental illness to avoid prison." And I think that's what Jarvis is talking about right there, because when somebody does do something commit a crime, then first thing they want to do is I want to plead innocent on the grounds that of insanity or whatever, and then that you got to go through a whole process, like you said, of proving that they're not mentally ill, or they got to prove that they're mentally ill. And I'm sure y'all have tests to check all those things. Let me read another answer, Doc, before you respond. This answer said, I've been saying I'm glad my bad behavior wasn't excused by mental illness, or I may have never got myself together. So I think she's saying that some people who use bad behavior would turn around and say that and use that as an excuse. I'm sorry. We use that as an excuse to say that it's mental illness. Have you seen that happen before, Doc?
I mean, always when we talk about the possibility of serving jail time or prison time, to many it's a better alternative going to a facility. But now here's the thing: it is difficult to prove. It is because there's going to have to be a history. I've known cases where there was a murder, but that was childhood abuse and trauma. There was they have such a long history. But now remember, for the Black and brown community, many still go to prison. So it is not something that helps the majority of our people. It is something that may help others, but it doesn't help us as as much.
Go ahead, Corey.
Dr. Adams, I'm going to ask you a question that's never been answered. One of my siblings to go to counseling, and they were all.
We can't, Corey. You breaking up? Is your route? What's wrong? Your Wi-Fi messing up? Okay, your words are choppy.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Much better. Much better.
Okay.
Right. Say right there,
Okay.
please.
So this is a question that has never been answered. It wasn't answered at the time my dad asked the question. One of my younger siblings continued to get in trouble, and she was going to counseling. And my dad asked the counselor, he looked her in the face, he said, I have a question. Why is it she knows how to do everything bad, but she doesn't know how to do good? That question was not answered. She know how to do the things that are bad and will get her in trouble, but she didn't know how to be good, and they call it mental illness.
Well, unfortunately, when someone is not functioning in a particular area, that's when we know that there's a mental illness. Meaning, if I cannot maintain healthy relationships with spouse or children, if I cannot maintain a job, if I cannot maintain the continuation of seeking my education, it may be an indication that there is a mental health issue. Remember now, every mental health problem is not an illness. So it has to interfere with your daily functioning. And also there is a thin line between.
Explain that. Every mental illness is what you just said. Explain that, please. Every mental illness is not a mental sickness, whatever you just said.
Yeah. So sometimes you can go through situational things that are short term, and understand this. You may still need an antidepressant, but there's a cause. One of my friends, when her uncle died, is the uncle who was her father figure. She took an antidepressant for several months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, unlike the person who became started displaying psychosis at the age of 18, and here they are at 28 and they've never been treated. That person is going to be sicker or more symptomatic. So we look for symptoms. Now there is a thin line between criminality and mental illness.
Okay.
Most people think that people with mental illnesses are violent people or dangerous people. No, they're not. In our services, we have about 5,000 people, and I think maybe 2 or 3 have committed murder. So it is not a symptom that we see acted out. What happens? They normally act so odd and strange until someone hurts them.
That's good, Doc. I mean, listen, y'all, and listen. Share this thread. This is good information right here. And this guy, I mean, this is Dr. Ray Evans. Tell them how many therapists, how many psychologists are you over in Mississippi, sir?
That we have a staff about 306. We cover 7 counties and about 5,000 registered clients in our services.
And he's the director of all of them. And not to mention he passed to black people. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And also keep in mind, these are rural people. So this is small town America.
Yeah. So we lost you. Say it again, Corey.
I said that sound like Girls Interrupted.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm interested with Dr. Evans. What would you ask her?
Well, now usually you do like a history of just childhood. How was she raised? How does she feel about herself? Because the first thing I thought about was a personality disorder, where you want to draw a lot of attention to yourself and you don't think about the consequences. You just want the attention. But it can end up very bad for her, because what she did, it does taint when other women of color come up missing. Because just think now, they moved on this in a very positive way. Almost $63,000 was raised by Crime Stoppers to help solve this. So not only did people put forth their effort in searching, but they also put their money behind it.
Yeah.
So it was a community effort, and I wish it would have ended so differently than a person possibly making up the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a sad indictment. Like I said, and I don't want to cast a shadow on our community in totality because of the actions of one. Because the truth be told, we're not the only community that has faked kidnappings.
Right.
If the truth be told, and typically kidnappings are for what? For ransom, for child. What is the other word? Ransom. Not in our community. It's not ransom.
Right.
We ain't got no money.
You ain't got no
But
money.
in other communities, they do it for what? Sex trafficking. They do it for organ harvesting. That's supposed to be a big thing going on right now. So with them responding so quickly, it was an awesome thing, because they really put effort behind it, especially in Alabama of all places,
Hoover, Alabama.
And Hoover, Alabama. It is right outside of Beham, but still,
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And I guarantee you that it was an opportunity to show a community effort, because I bet you white individuals had given money, and they were praying just like everyone else. Yep. So when the story turns out to be possibly false, again, so many of our children, girls of color, come up missing, and we never hear about it. We never hear about it through the TV. So actually hearing about it, reading about it was something positive. This was the only downside that possible. There was a possibility that the whole thing was made up.
I'm about to ask a stupid question, and if it's stupid, I'm sorry, everybody. Y'all, all my listeners, please forgive me, because we talk about mental illness, and well, I'm gonna ask a couple of questions. Hell, it's my show. I can ask questions if I want to, right? But first of all, is mental illness curable? I know it's treatable, but are there mental illnesses that are curable?
It all depends on what that diagnosis is.
Okay, give me an example that's curable.
Well, now here's the thing: a depression that is tied to a situation or event.
Okay, let me ask you this: is autism a mental illness?
Autism is yes. Okay.
I'm gonna say this because I got a friend of mine, homegirl of mine. That's this.
Mm-hmm.
She has a son who has has autism, right? And the son, is he's high functioning. He's high functioning.
Yeah.
So he told his mom, "I want to come off the medicine." He didn't like the way the medicine made him feel, all that kind of stuff. So he didn't want to deal with the medicine part of it. He told his mom, "I don't want to come off the medicine." So she said, "You know what? I'm gonna take you," because he doesn't have any episodes like that. So she took him to the doctor. Doctor said, "Okay, if you do this, you can come off the medicine." So when the doctor finally told him that he could come off the medicine, Jarvis, the little boy, said, "Well, I got off the medicine a month ago." He had already come off the medicine on his own, and he wasn't having any episodes. He wasn't having any issues. Has his mental illness, has that autism been cured?
I mean, when you look at high functioning, there is the issue. If someone is high functioning, you can possibly still go to college. You can possibly still learn to drive and have a sense of independence, just like every other person. So every level of autism is different. It is the same way for mental retardation. I mean, you may have a person who has a mild case or mild level who may function just like everyone else, versus the person who sits and someone has to feed them and do everything for them.
Right, yeah. I mean, when we lived in Pine Bluff, it was nothing to see somebody running naked down the street because they decided to take themselves off medication. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And
you know what I'm saying? They didn't want to accept that they full blown crazy.
let me share this, and I want everyone who's viewing this to hear this. If you are receiving the treatment that you need, you can live what we perceive as a normal life. Mm-hmm. And there is in an area where we work, there's a medical doctor who has a diagnosis of a mental illness, and he functions fine. He is very compassionate. He is very caring. Now, I think he has to do some special things through the board of medicine, but still, he practices. He works with minorities, and he works very well. So if a doctor can maintain his treatment and practice, there are a lot of possibilities out there.
Would you like to give his name?
Yeah, right.
I'd rather not.
I'm just.
Hey, hold on, and we're gonna keep our conversation. We're gonna. He's so stupid. He's so stupid. Jarvis is the stupid one on the show. Not in a way because he can be taught.
I mean, because he could be an advocate. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he is an advocate because he will tell individuals, I think you may need to see someone for mental health, and if they give you medication, you need to take it. So,
Okay.
so he advocates in that way.
Listen, we're gonna be on here for about 10 or 15 more minutes. So we got Dr.
That's you, Coy.
Coy, stop it. Don't start her leg. Coy gonna start acting crazy. She been behaving the whole time. See, look, Coy made it almost without her medicine. See, I think she got to take it about 10, 15. So y'all, we got about 25 more minutes, but Coy got to take her medicine. So let's get this going. So listen, everybody in the chat, only 4 people have liked it. Like, please do me a favor. Just hit that reaction. Like, love, wow, something. Do that. Hold on, one more thing. And those in the audience, if you have a question for Dr. Evans in these last 10 or 15 minutes, post your question here and he'll answer it. Coy, but you go ahead and ask your question. Come close to the mic and ask your question.
Oh, no, I didn't have a question. It takes 1 second.
Okay. I can't hear you.
I had to take my earbuds out because they were too loud. But share. It takes 1 second to do that.
Please like and share it. I mean, I'm not begging y'all for stars or nothing like that, but it just helps my algorithm. It really does. It helps my algorithm, and we're trying to build this show, and we're giving you good information tonight. It started out funny, talking about Carlee. It started out funny, about the memes that they put out there and talking about she was missed. Because some of y'all missed the memes earlier, so I got to show y'all some of the memes. Hold on, am I being petty, Corey? Okay, let me show y'all some of the memes. I got to see the ones I can read. Y'all didn't miss it. So here's the Hoover roadside toddler. If you want to buy you a baby that you can find on the side of the road walking down the street, there's the Hoover roadside toddler. Call 911 when you do it. I'm just joking. And then here's the other one. If you see this picture, just know I'm going to be gone for a couple of days. You're going to be gone. That's what she said. No, I'm joking. This is really not funny because guess what? If she is dealing with mental illness, and we do have Dr. Evans on the show right now, if she is dealing with mental illness, and he says she quite possibly could be, because it's so easy to say that she's not. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. We, as our community, we are a vicious people, man. They talk about the church being the only one that would shoot the wounded. No, black folk, we would shoot the wounded in a heartbeat. We got that from our slave masters. We love to catch that one that messed up and parade him in front of everybody and barrage him and make him look so bad. We don't understand nothing about that whole principle that says that if any man be taken in fault, we restore such a one. We forgot all about administering grace, because the same type of grace that you give is the same type of grace that you receive. And if you're not willing to give anyone any grace, then you can't expect to receive any grace. And if whatever this young lady was going through, it was a sad situation. Jarvis, I got children. I got a 25-year-old son. And the last thing I would want is my child. Dr. Evans, you got a daughter.
Yes, 27 and 22 and 20-year-old son. And
what if they had a bad day? You know what I'm saying? And made a bad decision. I don't know what she was doing. Maybe she was, as they said, in Red Roof Inn, getting it on, whatever she called herself doing. I don't know. But whatever made her make this decision for her to have to go through this. Go ahead, Doc.
We can even talk about that. There's a difference in a young person making an extreme bad decision versus someone who has repeated decisions. For right now, we don't know if they were repeated. We just don't have enough background.
Yeah. We don't have enough background, and not having enough background, we still
eating up.
Huh?
We still eating it up. We're not.
My thing is I long for the day of community again. Yeah. I long for big mamas in the neighborhood, and I long for the elders, being the real elders. You know what I'm saying? And us being able to go get good advice and all those types of things. I long for those days. I hate the fact that we've become so mean and so affected viciously. We're vicious towards one another, man. And like I said, I would hate for my 25-year-old to make a bad decision or whatever he did, and then he has to go through it. But I'm like you, Doc, Jarvis. I'm gonna stand by him. Right. He's mine. I'm gonna stand by him. How you doing, Doctor Shawana?
Hey, how everybody doing?
All right, good. So, what do you think about the whole situation, Doc? Dr. Shawana.
She don't know about it. She don't know.
I know a lot. I grew up in Birmingham, Hoover, so I know that area pretty well. So I'm seeing a lot on Facebook, a lot of people that went to school with her. It's a lot of conversations about it. Um, I think personally that it's a lot to have to do with the mental state of everything that she's dealing with. It's been a lot on social media, with the boyfriend, and just using the whole thing as sort of like the attention thing to grab attention. But of course, it's in the wrong way, because this morning the boyfriend, he deleted her completely from social media. So it's a lot. It's a lot going on. A whole lot.
And their issues are totally different than our issues.
Mhm.
I had one young lady say today, because I talked about how loosely we use the term mental illness. She said, yeah, just like we use the term bullying, just like we use some of these other terms, it's so convenient to use them, right? And we use them so loosely that when it's a time when we really need them, then it's not the same. So you got some people, like a guy said something about her having some type of condition today. I forgot. I can look it up in a minute, Doc. And I'm Dr. Evans, and I'm sure you'll be familiar with the term fabuloso. I forgot what it was. Some word. Hold on. Now fabuloso. That's some cleaning stuff they use at Dollar Tree. Y'all ain't them use put that stuff in a spray bottle, man. You can clean up some stuff, Jack.
Yeah, that fabuloso.
Hey, look, you want to get the smell out your house? Boil some fabuloso in a pot.
And she was on that fabuloso.
She's a whole baby. He's a whole baby.
A whole baby, man.
But she was on that fabuloso.
But I'm like Kevin Hart. We can laugh at our pain.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when there's a pain in our community, we all should feel it.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a man say, if you haven't cried about something that has nothing to do with you in the last few hours or last few days, you might already be dead.
Yeah.
If you can look at a sad situation and not feel that individual, you might already be dead. I mean, even if she did it as a hoax, what would make her do? I feel sorry for her.
Yeah.
And I'm just not the type to shoot the wounded. I'm not an undertaker, so I'm not gonna go bury no ditch to dig anybody in, because if I dig one ditch, I might as well dig two.
But when she will go down in history for this event. But now it's just one event in her life, and she is 25 years old. She is a young person. Mm-hmm. So the idea that she can turn this around and live differently. I remember Susan Smith, when they talk about people doing stuff, a white female who had said that her sons were kidnapped by a black male. Yep. And she was doing it because of a boyfriend. So why would someone think that way? There has to be something going on there.
Oh yeah, no doubt. Mm-hmm. And I hear Lazarius said, I have no empathy for it. Empathy means you've gone through the same situation. So I would hope you don't have any empathy for it. I mean, now, you can have sympathy for it though. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have any sympathy for it, of course, that's your choice. But to be empathetic with someone means that we've gone through the same thing. That means, like, if Jarvis's loved one has passed and we have the same loved one, and that's empathy. Sympathy means that I'm looking at your situation and I feel sorry for you. So if you're not empathetic towards her or sympathetic towards her, I get it. But I'm still sympathetic because she's still a 25-year-old child.
Well, but I'm sympathetic and empathetic towards her parents, because I have a child. You know what I'm saying? And
I have daughters. I would hate my daughter to go through something anything similar. You know what I mean? To feel, I don't know what she went through. You know what I'm saying? And maybe she didn't want the national attention, but now she got it. And now, one thing I can do, because I did go to University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and I almost flunked out. No, I did. I ain't never. But I could play spades, right? And whenever I played spades, I played whatever hand was dealt to me.
Yeah.
And whatever hand was dealt, I could use certain cards to change the game. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And sometimes you might panic when you get a certain hand because you don't think you have the right card, but you might just have that card. And you got to remember you have cards. And guess what? If it ain't the last hand, you got another hand. Oh, that's gonna be a meme. What time? Yeah. If it ain't the last hand, guess what? Then you got another hand. What's up, Doc?
Well, one other thing, I had dinner with my son this evening.
I read it.
And he actually talked about two other young men, black men, his age, who had committed suicide a couple of months apart from one another. and they actually knew one another. They owned pictures together. They were friends, played basketball together. His heart was, what can we do to make things better so that people will have an out? I think that's part of the conversation too. What can we provide for someone who is at a critical state and they don't really know the decision that they're about to make will be a positive or negative one? Where can they turn? Who can they go to? It used to be the support of family, but as you all said, families is not as cohesive as we used to be, and the community is not as cohesive as it used to be. So sometimes they don't know where to turn. So I think that should be part of the discussion also.
Okay.
That's right. I agree.
Yeah. Doc, I mean, you've made Doc, y'all are in like I'm hold on, I'm sorry. I slow down. Doc, you've made this conversation very substantive tonight. I really appreciate you. We got him for a couple of more minutes, guys. He's an hour behind us, so he might be able to stay up a little bit longer. But so if you have any questions with regard to mental illness, how to recognize mental illness, what to do if you think you're dealing with someone who might be mentally ill, if you think you got something going on in your personal life and you think you might need someone to point you in the right direction, if you have any questions about, ask him while we got him on here tonight. We're not always going to come on here and talk about relationships and laugh and grill people and all those kind of things. Sometimes I want to have really thought out, substantive conversations, like the conversation Coy and I had about 3 or 4 months ago. Dr. Evans and Dr. Shawana, we came on here and we talked about things that when should you tell your significant other certain things. And we talked about herpes and we talked about different diseases and should you tell them up front, and y'all ain't even that cool yet. Or, we did all those things. And when we did that particular show, we had Coy on the show. Coy is a nurse practitioner. So we had her on the show. We had T. Hanner on the show. She's a nurse, and then we had another young lady from her show on the show. So, from our Coy's office on the show. So we have substantive conversations and I try to bring in people who can actually give what I don't know. I'm going to give you my opinion. And that's all I have. I don't want you. My thoughts are for entertainment purposes only. Now I can break a Bible down and a couple other different things, but I'm not licensed in that area. I'm not, certified in certain areas. So therefore, I bring in people like Doc. And Doc, I appreciate you. So if anybody has any questions, then let's get that together. Boy, he said, look at Stacey. Stacey, I hope your wife ain't white. Stacey Jackson said, my wife has a mental illness. Then he said, lots of laughs, just kidding. Jarvis, turn your head. Don't show no. You talked about body language the other night. Don't show no body language. We don't want no mess on that.
I look good in mine. I look her right in the throat.
Then Lazeric said, Stacey, yours too. Boy, y'all stupid. Listen, every man think his wife. My dad had been thinking my mama was crazy for the last 44 years. So trust me, every man, but that's not, but listen, that ain't real mental illness. That's just because I say your ass is crazy, that don't mean that you're mentally ill. There's a difference that you crazy and really meaning that you're mentally ill. And my goal with this conversation is to stop using those terms so loosely. If we're going to say those, if we say something like that, and guess what? Do you realize how much power is in your tongue? If you sit here, because that's like that girl Coy. I don't know if you remember, Jarvis, you remember it, in Arkansas it was probably 6-7 years ago when they found that little white girl that had been brutally abused by her parents. They used to zip tie her with zip ties and whoop her. And when the parents used to call her, the social workers, when they came in the house, they asked the girl what her name was. And the little girl said, idiot. Yeah.
Because that's
my name. Because that's what she heard. And that's what I'm saying. It's so much power in our tongue. I hear people call their children little MF and they little bad mother, all that kind of stuff. And, and they talk to children like that with this aggressive tone. I don't talk to women a certain way.
Right.
I don't argue. I'll tell Dr. Shawana, I'll tell a woman right now, because I'm single now and I ain't been single in a long time. So, so this is a new territory for me. And some of these women are a little bit more aggressive than I'm used to dealing with back in the day. I'm used to a little more docility, right? And I ain't hating on you. Be yourself. I get it. But some of these women are a little aggressive when they talk. And I have to tell you, listen, sweetheart, I don't argue with women. And they be like, why? Because I don't argue with nobody I can't fight. So what we arguing for? Now, because if we argue, that means you talk, I talk. You talk, I talk. It escalate. One of us, if it's me and two men, we can punch each other in the mouth or walk away from each other. We can argue, whatever we gonna do. But what I'm gonna do if I'm talking back and forth with a woman, my daddy taught me not to hit no woman. I'm not hitting no woman.
Well, you know, back in the day, they were told you get you a white woman, but they fight too now. You know what I'm saying? They get you a crazy one. You know what I'm saying? No offense to none of the white women out here, but they just as mean.
May the Lord watch.
Ain't nothing worse
you about to make me give you the straight benediction.
You ain't never had your shirt tore off you by a white woman?
No. Am I still out? I just want to know if I'm still out. Put your hands on me. I ain't put my hands on you. We grown, man.
Come back here, James. Come back here, James. Don't you run from me, James.
I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. Oh, Lord. No. Boy, you making me think about this thing. Ooh. I'm feeling this thing right. No. Don't raise your voice at me, man. I had to withdraw. Listen, I had to withdraw the right hand of fellowship from a friend at one time for raising her voice at me. I'm like, oh. Who? I said, who you talking to? Oh, I'm sorry. No. I was like, okay, men and women should not talk to each other a certain way. And I remember I read an article a long time ago, about 2010. It said the article was entitled "The Art of Fighting Fair," and they said when the temperature starts to escalate, take 5 minutes.
Yeah,
just walk around the house right quick, but step away. Walk away for a minute. But to stay there knowing that things are gonna escalate, and all of a sudden here come a flower pot flying across the room. Yeah. I might be repeating my trauma now. I'm joking. But ain't nobody ever threw no flower pot at me, but I've seen one fly before. Seen one fly. Look, Dr. Evans, I was like, wow, that chuck in my pants. I thought I was gonna break my neck getting whiplash. I saw that pot going around.
We had this unique situation happen in one of our communities where there was a young lady who killed her husband on Facebook Live.
Yeah, I saw that. That was in Columbus, wasn't it?
Yes. So when you talk about strange things happening, when you talk about relationships, they can be very good or they can be very bad. And it all has to do with what mental state you're in at that particular time. You know, how you respond to it, how you deal with it, how you draw the line. All those things are indicative of a person's mental state.
Okay. That's good stuff. Anybody else have any more questions for Doc? Corey, you got anything for Doc?
No. I don't.
Why you laughing so? She says, Corey I told you, bro. Corey is. Jarvis, you acting different since Dr. Shawana came on the show. What happened?
You got quiet.
It's my mental health, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, you ain't talking. Are you looking to the left? I mean, whatever that is, you ain't talking.
I'm working. She made me take my medication before she. My medication made me sleepy.
Stacy, man, look, Stacy Jackson is in the audience. He said thank you for the conversation because he's the one that came on my page yesterday and asked me to do this. So I wanted to jump on and talk about it. Ivy also. Stacy asked me first. Then this morning, Coy asked me because Ivy asked me, and I think Ivy wanted to talk more about the story itself because I could see a lot of her comments. But sometimes I like to talk about the story itself, but then sometimes I like to look at the effects of the story and I look for like some different bullet points that would affect the community. You know, I mean, I know she was an AKA and I know some of those things, but I'm more concerned about how the situation affects we as a community. You know, is this real mental illness? Because, you know, some people, because I mean, like I was watching one video and the psychologist was like, yeah, this is mental illness. And then here come this guy, just said like that. This guy, he said, child, please don't try to get that mental illness.
Yeah.
Who died and left you?
I want to ask Dr. Shawana, what you asked earlier before she got down there. Do you think that that's going to affect the community in Hoover, or you think it's going to change some things?
Yes, definitely.
You think so?
Definitely. Yeah. How? Hoover is a very close-knit community, and they stand really by the citizens that reside in it, and the whole neighborhood came together.
White folks and black folks.
Yeah, everybody. It wasn't a race thing. Everybody came together on one accord, and yeah, it's going to affect it greatly.
So do you think it's going to have a negative impact? That's what I mean.
To a certain extent.
I don't think
especially
so.
Well, yeah, to a certain extent, because yeah, it would.
I think the white folks who was going to be racist is going to be racist, and I think the white folks who was going to be positive is going to be positive. I think that's a situation that we're going to get past.
We'll get past it, but it's still going to have some negative effects, just like everything in life have positive effects.
What's the racial climate like in Hoover?
It's mostly white, but it's growing. So you're probably looking at about 65-70% white. Maybe.
Not demographic, climate. How do they climate.
Like he said, pretty much with race. I mean, it's one of those that climate is.
Is it tense? Is it tense? Are they quick? Are they always pulling black people over?
Yeah, very tense. Like it's no room for us to do anything foolish over there. They don't play. They don't play. Like
for them to respond that fast, and that's going. Yeah.
And his body language. The chief, when he was speaking,
he was mad, man. He was hot. He was 38 hot.
And that's Hoover. Yeah. You go over there, that's one of those places driving while black. You got to have everything, your ducks in a row. That's not a place to play around. It's not.
And I saw, and y'all, and those of you all that were in the comments, and y'all were talking a little bit more about the story. I didn't get all of those. I didn't get all of them, but they're there. And I want us, Coy. I want us when we are almost there. I want y'all to get to the point where we're talking to each other in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can communicate with each other while we're talking here. And if I'm able, I read the comments. Right now, the computer too far away from me, and these glasses ain't nothing but props, so I really can't see all y'all's comments like that. And these glasses are props. I need to clean them. Man, it used me lying to go into hell. I need to transition. And then I got this other pair of glasses that's got the line in the bifocal, so I have to hold my eyes up like this to read, and then hold it like this. So I'm gonna put this cash up again. If Al want to send me some money to buy me some new glasses, I'd be happy to go buy some new glasses. Because I'm just playing. But if y'all do want to support the show, this is how you do it. Listen, I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. I got things to do tomorrow. And no, I don't. I don't have anything to do tomorrow. And I'm glad. I like not doing nothing. Because I'm not going to do anything till Tuesday when I fly to Arkansas next week. But I'm chilling for the next couple of days. And we're going to do that. Jarvis. Dude, man, I appreciate you, man, for coming on again, man.
Oh, man, and my sidekick had actually, you know what I mean? I started working 10 o'clock. I apologize for this.
I was going to individually thank her. I thanked you right now.
No, I'm going to thank her first, man. You know what I'm saying?
That's your wife.
I don't need another main thing thanking my wife or nothing, man. You know what I'm saying? What I tell you about the little house on the prairie, I usually don't even let her speak.
Let me mute him for old fashioned sake. Coy, I ain't muted nobody in a while. Bam. Dr. Shawana, thank you for
slow music, man. She don't need to hear that little music.
Say something now. Say something now. Say something now. Say something. I'm listening. Talk. I can't read.
He ain't saying nothing.
So now, thank you, Dr. Shawana. I appreciate you.
Nice meeting you.
Coy,
nice meeting y'all.
Nice meeting you too.
I missed you, Coy. And
I missed you, TJ.
And we're glad you came back with us. Now, y'all, we're gonna be praying for Coy. We're gonna keep putting Coy in there. Silent prayer request, but just take my word for it. We're gonna be praying for Coy. Dr. Evans, give us some closing words before we get out of here.
Mental health issues are serious, and I think more so in the in communities of color, just because they have not been addressed as much as they should because of stigma.
Okay. That's good. That's good, and it will be on a reel tomorrow. Trust me. Dr. Evans has been a blessing to us tonight, and I appreciate him. Ivy, I thank you for coming on tonight and for being diligent. We might do some more with this. Because Ivy wants to talk about the actual story, and and Ivy always wants to get some good stuff when she wants to talk about. So we're gonna work that out. But it's been real. I appreciate you all. I'm out. We'll see you on Monday for thought therapy or whatever we decide to do. But as I always say, the world is changing. My question for you is, why do you remain the same? I got a t-shirt coming out for that soon, and y'all will be able to check that out as well. All right, y'all have a good night. We're out.
Good night, guys.
Good night.
Intellectual Stew with James Kirkland. Intellectual Stew. Intellectual Stew. Intellectual Stew with James Kirkland. Intellectual Stew. Intellectual Stew with James Kirkland. Intellectual Stew. Intellectual Stew.